I think it may be another long year for Raptors fans. Welcome in or welcome back. I don't want that to be the case for them. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Toronto and the Raptors. I just don't see very many other outcomes for them. I don't really see them making any sort of real noise this year, but they do have some things working for them. The Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers are obviously not going to be the same as they were last year, and we still really don't understand what Philly or Milwaukee is going to look like this year, so I think that the East is a little more open than what they would have expected. Now, we'll touch on it in a minute, but I do see a scenario where they make the play-in. I just don't see much else happening for them. But I am getting ahead of myself. We have to start foundationally. Let's talk about their draft. They did have a lottery pick. At 9, they picked up Colin Murray-Boyles, and at number 39, they picked up Elijah Martin out of the NCAA champion Florida Gators. To start with Colin, drafting a 6'7", do-it-all forward is almost always a good idea. I'm just not positive about this one. Now, I think he's very talented. I understand why you would want to draft someone like that, but with the roster that they already have, I'm just a little confused. They already have Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and RJ Barrett to fill out that wing rotation, so it already seems like he's not going to get a ton of playing time. If I had to guess, he would be spending a lot of time in the 905 Raptors G League affiliate team, but that's only a guess. Because the East is so wide open, like we talked about earlier, and the other moves that the Raptors have made this year, it seems like the Raptors want to make a little bit of a push, and I think that Colin may not get the playing time that he wants this year. I do want to mention Elijah because I like his game a lot. He was a part of that FAU team that made the Final Four a couple of years ago, and like I said before, he's now an NCAA champion with the Florida Gators last year. For him too, unfortunately, I think there is a bit of a logjam in the guard room for him, so I'm not sure how much actual playing time he'll get this year. I do like that the Raptors brought in a winning player like this, though. I think there's a real scenario for him that because he's a little older and he has this championship experience, he can use some of that mentality to beat out some of the bad habits that could be on this team and the younger guards. I still think he'll end up playing a lot of time in the G League, but I really wouldn't be surprised that at the end of the year, he played 10 minutes a game. The Raptors did bring back a couple players, Garrett Temple on a 1-year deal and Jakob Poeltl on a 4-year deal. I do really like the Garrett Temple re-signing. At this stage in his career, he's not going to be a reliable role player for 82 games a year. I think this is more of a locker room move than anything, but he seems like such a good locker room guy that you need those kind of players around your young players. And as for Jakob Poeltl, I'm not sure that he'll ever get any sort of love for like an all-star bid or anything, but I think he's very, very good as a player. Last year had 14, 10, 3, and 2 stocks a game, and now you're getting that similar level production at about $27 million a year. I think that's really good value. Now, I will say that I don't think that he matches the Raptors timeline super well, but I do think that he plays in such a way that it won't add unnecessary miles to his body, so he could be around for the long haul, and I really like the move for them. At the time of recording, they only have one addition, and it's Sandro Mamakashvili. Now, I don't think that the San Antonio Spurs legend stats will say it, but I do think it's a pretty good pickup for them. He didn't get a ton of burn last year, but if you ask any Spurs fan, they will tell you that he's a very solid player. 6 points a game last year won't scream value or anything, but he shot 37% from 3 last year, and if there is anything that any team needs in the league right now, it's more shooting. With the departure of Chris Boucher, which we'll get to in a minute, I think that it's really important to have this power forward center who could stretch the floor. I'm not going to predict anything crazy for him, like he's going to average 15 points a game and he's going to be this sniper from 3 or anything, but I think that this kind of move is the getting better around the edges move that good organizations can pull off. Now, we do, of course, have to talk about their one departure in Chris Boucher, and I know that he won a ring with the Warriors, but I kind of viewed him as Mr. Raptor. He's been with the team since 2018, and he has certainly seen the ups and downs of this franchise. But unfortunately for him, kind of like Jakob Poeltl, he doesn't match the timelines of the rest of the roster. He's 32 years old now, and while I think that 10 and 6 with like 36% from 3 off the bench still could be good, it isn't so good that you can't replace it or can't find it somewhere else. And furthermore, I don't expect so much from Chris this year, even with an injured and depleted roster, so I really don't think that this is the kind of move that the Raptors will somehow regret. So, what can we expect from the Raptors this year? Well, they were about 9 games away from the play-in spot, and with the uncertainty in the East with the teams like Boston and Indy and Philly and Milwaukee, I think that they're is a chance that you can make some noise. Are there things to improve on? Yes, obviously. I think that Scotty Barnes could take a leap, especially in his playmaking ability. We didn't even get to see Brandon Ingram suit up last year. And even though everything about their tenure in the NBA has told me otherwise, I still believe in the idea, the tandem of Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. Like I said, the East is very open this year. Does that mean that the Raptors can make an Eastern Conference Finals run? No, I doubt it. But I do see a scenario where if everything goes right for them, we could be as high as a 7th seed. I think that getting real playoff minutes for this very young team still is ultra important. It won't be important for this year because you're not going to win the championship. But a couple years down the line, if you can keep these pieces, I think this year will be ultra valuable. And at the end of the day, all it takes is a winning streak at the right time to make it to the next round of the playoffs. So if you can get there, if you can get to a 7th seed, maybe even get to the 6th seed and avoid the play-in entirely, anything can happen. I do very much like the team on paper. I think that there are some fit issues. I think that there are a bunch of log jams at particular positions, but I have been proven wrong before. And like I said, I do have a soft spot for Toronto and the Raptors, so I kind of want to be wrong about this. I think it's also important to mention that I would be concerned if it was any other team in the league with their draft assets. But as it stands right now, the Toronto Raptors have all 7 of their own first-round draft picks for the next 7 years. Even if this year or next year is disastrously bad, you could just blow it up, get a bunch more draft picks, and try again. Honestly, especially with how other teams are operated in the NBA, I think that the Raptors are one of the few teams that are in a no-lose situation. And that, in and of itself, is super rare in today's NBA. Am I too high or too low on the Raptors? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, check my description. I've got a link tree with all of my socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and I even have a Discord community that I would love for you to be a part of. That's going to do it for me today. Be on the lookout for your team in this series. Be kind, tell somebody you love them, and I'll see you in the next one.
Barely scraping by, trying to stop puffing. I'm trying to be one of the greats.